Glancing at his companions, Yuuki gave a wry smile. Considering convenience alone, men like footmen sure are easy to use. But to be honest, in order to raise the chance of success for our operations, Lapis and the others are the better candidates. Frankly, there aren't that many reasons behind our actions anyway, he thought to himself. Thus, Yuuki chose to explain the matter to his subordinates in greater detail. It's more than enough that Leon is on the move. Didn't I order you guys to move the top secret merchandise to him? That's because I no longer wish to make deals with Leon anymore. And that's why I gave you guys the last opportunity to take a look at your arch-nemesis. But doesn't that mean we could have wreaked havoc while we were there that day, and not gotten chewed out for it? Indeed, it would have been okay under the condition that everyone made it out alive, of course, Yuuki said with a grin. His smile was brimming with so much confidence that it calmed the clowns down. Even though they are all just children, it's not easy gathering author orders. Do you guys know the reason why we continued selling children to him, despite knowing it would only increase his strength? Lapis thought for a bit. Because boss wanted to stay in touch with him, right? Yes, that's correct. Then what would be the necessary condition for that? Is it the secret merchandise, the kids from the other world? Indeed. But right now, we no longer have the means to acquire them. Do you know why? Because the Rosso family is in charge of summoning the kids, I get it, so that's why it is. Lapis excitedly exclaimed. What and what is? Tyr was still very confused, while on the other hand, Lapis seemed to have pieced everything together. To put it simply, Tyr, we plan to frame the Rossos and let them take the fall for the entire ordeal. Since we can't acquire merchandise anymore, that also means we won't be able to make deals with them. That's why we have to take the initiative. We will stop all dealings with Leon and only contact him when it becomes necessary in the future. Kaguli clarified. But even if that's the case, we don't have to intentionally do something that's suspicious. Tyr mumbled. That ain't the case. It's so that we could make the Rossos look like the masterminds behind all this. Boss sure is one cruel lad. Lapis groaned in amazement, as if he had finally noticed the truth. Ahahaha. I'll take that as a compliment. Lapis is right. I intend to push all responsibility to Elder Granbell. Leon is annoying, commented Kaguli. But more importantly, he's extremely cautious. He will definitely suspect us, but he won't think that Cerberus would employ such a crude tactic. Furthermore, he'll probably clear Demon Lord Rimuru or Luminous of suspicion, and wind up with no one to blame. As for the Rosso family, he probably wouldn't even consider them suspects. Yuuki voiced his agreement. While Leon is indeed cautious, he's also overconfident in himself. To him, the only value people have is so they can be exploited, and he would never think that they could harm him. That's why he never investigated the Rosso family in the past. Thus, he probably doesn't realize that is exactly where the real threat lies. Indeed, the 5 great elders aren't really that impressive to be honest, except for those 2, Kaguli remarked. Kaguli's offhand remark confused Tyr again. 2? I thought that Mariabell had already been taken care of. Wouldn't that leave only Granbell? Looks like you guys didn't know. Within the Rosso family, there are 3 people that you cannot underestimate, Kaguli quickly corrected. Mariabell had died, leaving 2 remaining. They knew this from information gathered by Cerberus. Well, technically this last person isn't one of the 5 elders. The rumor is that the Count of the Citra border has a subordinate, a real tough character, Yuuki divulged, smiling wryly as he shared the information with his companions. The Count of the Citra border was in charge of safeguarding the northern realm of the Kingdom of Ingratia. The land had been protected by a guardian for generations. This guardian wore a mask and armor that covered him from head to toe. No one knew about his true identity, and he was a mystery who answered directly to Granbell. Even though he was not one of the 5 great elders, anyone who knew about him wouldn't dare cross him. Yuuki originally heard about this masked man from Damrata. Even Damrata said, though I haven't actually fought the guy, I'm not sure I would win. It's quite telling of his strength. After all, Damrata had only spoken highly of Hinata and no one else. To Yuuki's knowledge, there were only 3 people within the Western nations that Damrata was wary of. Hinata, Mariabell, and that man. From Damrata's viewpoint, compared to the head of the 5 elders, Granbell, that mysterious man was much more difficult to deal with. Damrata the Gold was one of the leaders of the secret organization Cerberus. Yuuki trusted him as a good companion and leader, so if he said that the man was rather powerful, then they definitely couldn't ignore him. Lapis tried to make sense of everything. What's the deal with this guy then? I'm not sure. I've never met him. But apparently the North is peaceful all thanks to that man. According to Damrata, he had witnessed him fighting against the demons from the Northern Realm. Yuuki's words shocked everyone. While Kaguli and Misha caught wind of this information beforehand, they still couldn't help but be shocked, nonetheless. It was absolutely mind-blowing. I heard that that man's name is Razul. Elder Granbell gave him this name personally. You mean Elder Granbell? Named him. Then could it be? Looks like Kaguli-sama did not know this either. Indeed, Damrata claims that Razul apparently is not human. Misha explained. Yuuki added some more information. Yup, that's what Damrata told me. Apparently, his mask and armor aren't equipment, but his actual body. However, this meant nothing to Laplace and the other clowns. That really doesn't matter though. Just to clarify, when you said demons from the Northern Realm, you aren't talking about that demon lord's lackeys, are you? Right, if it's that demon lord, Lord of Darkness, the Western continent would be in ashes already. Laplace and Kigali normally wouldn't look so panicked, but no one made fun of them. Neither did Yuuki. Don't be so nervous. I guess you were really afraid of Demon Lord Geek Crimson. That aside, regarding your question, the demons from the Northern Realm are obviously Demon Lord Gee's men. It seems that Gee has permitted his subordinates to go off and invade human society for their own amusement. To demons, it's like a game, though the ones being attacked would hardly agree to that sentiment. However, Razul made it so that they were blocked outside Ingratia's border. That man had managed to defeat armies of demons by himself and protected human society. Listening to just how powerful the man was, everyone fell silent and still except for Yuuki. Well, I also found it rather unbelievable. I still think it's true. That being said, Demon Lord Gee never fights seriously, which is why the Western nations are at peace. Regardless, this Razul does pose quite the threat. He seems pretty reckless. I'd never be able to do something like that, confessed Laplace. Everyone slowly started to recover from the onslaught of shocking information. Well, now that we know this guy is strong, what does it have to do with Leon? Are we planning to lure Leon to the north and fight that guy? Tyr asked. Hearing this, Yuuki smiled happily. Well, about that, let's get back to where we left off. Just as I've said, the Rossos have always held on to their trump card Razul. Since they never knew when the demons would attack, they couldn't move their pawn away from the north, because it was acting as a deterrent. That was the reason why Mariabell didn't account Razul in her plan. After all, he was a strategic piece who served Elder Granbell directly. He was not someone that even Mariabell could order around. It wasn't like Yuuki had only found out about that man recently. The reason why they didn't utilize this Razul despite knowing his strength was because an opportunity never emerged. If they were to use him without carefully considering it first, then Gee's men could decimate the Western continent. Yuuki wanted to avoid this possibility, and therefore insisted on not doing anything about the Northern Realm. However, the situation had changed. Now let's get to the crux of the matter. I had a meeting with Granbell and made a deal with the old man. I've informed you all of what we spoke about before. Yuuki's smile disappeared after he finished talking. Everyone nodded, and Kigali spoke in his place. The true identity of that god everyone worships in the Western Holy Church is just who we suspected. Furthermore, Granbell was extremely saddened by the passing of Mariabell. This is why he has decided to collaborate with Yuuki-sama. What a foolish old man. Quiet now, Laplace. Yuuki-sama was asked to do a job. We are preparing according to this plan. Yuuki and Granbell's secret meeting. Its content was: Yuuki informed Granbell of Mariabell's death. Mariabell attempted to challenge Demon Lord Rimuru and suffered a major defeat. As a last resort, she attempted to overload the magic power core, and due to the subsequent explosion, she was killed on sight. It was the same story that Yuuki told Rimuru. He had thought about lying on the matter before, but he figured it was best not to. Since Rimuru no longer suspected him, Yuuki didn't want to accidentally disrupt the status quo. Even though Yuuki couldn't predict how Granbell would react upon learning of Mariabell's death, he believed that he could still handle him in a fight. Even if Granbell was the guardian of humanity and one of the 7 luminaries, at this point, he was nothing more than a sad old man drowning in his desire for power, or at least that was how Yuuki saw it. Although Granbell was still a force to be reckoned with, he was a shadow of his former self, someone that Yuuki could defeat. There were, however, guards at the venue where they met. In addition to that, there were also some otherworlders among them as well. It would be unwise to antagonize all of them. Still, even under these circumstances, Yuuki was behaving very calmly. Now that Mariabell was out of the picture, he only had to worry about Razul. With all these factors, Yuuki no longer planned to hide his true nature, and decided to confront Granbell directly. Is that so? Mariabell has died. Indeed. We are quite troubled as well. I was controlled by Mariabell and forced to fight Demon Lord Rimuru. Even though my association is a subsidiary to the council and is run from the council's funds, wouldn't that be a violation of our contract? Honestly, I could demand compensation from you guys for stripping me of my free will. Granbell completely ignored Yuuki and demanded an explanation instead. What happened between you and Demon Lord Rimuru? Yuuki was expecting this sort of reaction to some degree, so he wasn't too displeased. He simply shrugged and continued. Nothing that bad. He might suspect you, but he likely thought everything was instigated by Mariabell. I intentionally created this illusion. I hope you won't blame me for that. Contrary to what Yuuki had predicted, Granbell looked tired. He closed his eyes and fell silent for a while. I suppose that's it then, Mariabell is dead. The hope of the Rossos has disappeared. In that case, we must use that Lord's secret treasure and seek vengeance against Rimuru. That Lord. Secret treasure. I have no clue what you're talking about. Please do not drag me into this any more than you already have. Kukuku, now, Yuuki. You are a smart man, surely you figured this out already. Figured what out? The god of luminism is Demon Lord Luminous-sama. Oh. Yuuki had more or less guessed that already, but he was still shocked to hear this from Granbell. Moreover, he was curious as to why Granbell would suddenly disclose such an important secret. What's your intention for sharing this with me? My intention, you say? That's a harsh way to put it, said Granbell. He rose from the sofa, and speaking gravely, I am acknowledging you. Now that I've lost Mariabell, there's no better candidate for us to entrust the task of safeguarding the Western nations and humanity's future than you. Yuuki sneered at his words. There was no way he would buy that. What nonsense is this? Even if I don't do anything, Rimuru-san will certainly figure something out. That man really wishes to coexist with humans. Negotiations have failed. However, Granbell wasn't finished. Naive, oh how too naive you are. Mariabell has seen the future, but based on what you've said, you don't seem to have the same foresight. That demon lord called Rimuru. I cannot let him live in this world. Luminous-sama has no interest in the human world, and that's why she can coexist with humanity. But Demon Lord Rimuru is different. That demon lord will make humanity fall and cast the world into chaos. Much blood will be spilled when that time comes. Wow, what incredible foresight you possess. Do you have any evidence to back up your claims? Instinct. Ha, what a bizarre reason. My instincts as an ex-hero tells me that I must eliminate Demon Lord Rimuru. His words surprised Yuuki quite a bit, causing him to scrutinize Granbell.